Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Mass Effect with me, DarkPhoenix Ninja 92. Last time we left off, if you remember, we just saved Liara from that ruin where she got herself stuck in a Prothean security device somehow, probably by pressing the wrong button, which goes to show, no, don't press a button unless you know what it does. And then, after we escaped, killed a bunch of Geth and a Krogan, we proceeded to stop a catfight between Liara and Kaidan. What the hell was that? Anyways, we proceeded to stop a catfight between Liara and Ashley. Sorry. I have no idea why I said Kaidan there. And after that, we reported to the council, and the Turian counselor decided we hadn't been chewed out enough, so he proceeded to lecture us on getting that Prothean ruin destroyed in the process of saving Liara, and getting on our nerves about if we were restricting her security access or something, and that's where we left off. So this time we're going to go and chat with some people, I think. And maybe do some missions. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, we're back with good old Melinda Shepard, who is getting to quite like Kaidan, so we are going to speak to him first. Gah, loading screens. They're so annoying. Hi, Kaidan.
Commander, do you have a minute?
Of course, of course.
I always make time for my officers.
Off the record, I think there's something wrong here. This Saren is looking for records on some kind of galactic extinction, but we can't get backup from the Council? Sorry, Commander. There's writing on the wall here, but someone isn't reading it.
I hear you, and to be honest, I agree. The Council has to stick up their ass so long, I'm surprised it's not coming out of their mouth. And no, that was not some kind of innuendo, so do not even suggest it.
The Council doesn't want to believe anything's wrong. I'd call it human nature, but...
Yeah.
It just seems like a group that's been around as long as the Council should see this coming. I mean, it's funny, we finally get out here, and the final frontier was already settled. And the residents don't even seem impressed by the view. Or the dangers.
Yeah, that's a cute way to look at it.
Well, well. You're a romantic. Did you sign on for the dream, Malenko? Secure a man's future in space?
Yeah, I read a lot of those books when I was a kid, where the hero goes to space to prove himself worthy of a woman he loves, or, you know, for justice. Maybe I was a romantic in the beginning, but I thought about it after brain camp. Biotic acclimation and temperance training. I'm not looking for the dream. I just want to do some good. See what's out here. Sorry if I got too informal. Protocol wasn't a big focus back in Bot.
Don't worry about it.
Tell me about it.
Biotic acclimation and temperance didn't last past the airlock. To the kids they hauled in, it was brain camp. Sorry, hauled in is unkind. We were encouraged to commit to an evaluation of our abilities.
You
so
can hear the air quotations in his voice even without the subtitles.
There are worse results of accidental exposure to element 0 in the womb. Beats the brain tumors some kids grew up with.
Oh, some kind of doubt, eh?
Is there some question about how you were exposed?
My mother was downwind of a transport crash. It was before there were human biotics, a little after the discovery of the Martian ruins. It only gets iffy around 63 when Kinetics was running out of first-gen subjects. Until then, they'd relied on accidentals. Bunch of guys in suits show up at your door after school, and next thing you know, you're out on Jump Zero.
Okay, let's investigate this a little bit. Jump Zero, huh?
Jump Zero is Gagarin Station, right? What's it like?
Yeah, that's the official name. Biggest and farthest facility we had for decades. Right on the termination shock, the outer edge of the solar system. It's where they did all the Goose Chase FTL research before we caught on to using mass effect fields. It was a sterile research platform when I was there.
Goose Chase FTL research, huh? It's a pity they didn't keep going with that after finding out about Mass Effect fields, and you'll see what I mean later, a lot later. I'm not going to spoil anything about it.
There were other kids in the same boat, right? At least you weren't alone out there.
That's true. We did have a little circle that'd get together every night before lights out. We didn't have much to do, though. It was a research platform then, and Kinetics kept Jump Zero off the extranet to prevent leaks.
Okay. Yeah. To those of you who need me to explain that, I'm not going to. Figure it out yourself. But yeah, it's pretty funny the reaction you get to that one sometimes, but I'm not gonna say that. Because it sounds a lot like an accusation, if I'm honest. Time to chat a little, huh?
Then you must have had plenty of time to get to know each other.
Yeah, we'd sit around and
that
bull every
works
night
too.
after dinner, play cards or network games. There was this girl named Rana who had a little circle grow up around her. She was from Turkey. Her family was very rich, but she was smart and charming as hell. Beautiful, but not stuck up about it. Like you, I guess.
Aww, flatterer. Did you love her, huh?
Sounds like she was special to you.
She was. Maybe she felt the same, but things never felt together. Training, you know.
Oh yes, those bloody corporations. What's this about intentional exposures?
You know of any intentional exposures for certain?
No one knows. Doesn't mean they didn't happen. As big as the exposures were, it was hard to track down accidentals. It was different then. No one knew the potential, so there wasn't a lot of regulation. Anything Kinetics did was gold. I'm not saying they intentionally detonated drives over our outposts, but in retrospect, they were damn quick on the scene.
Ah, that sounds pretty rough. No, yeah, well, when it comes to that one, all I have to say is this. This is what happens when you put bureaucrats in charge of sensitive new technology that barely anyone understands, rather than actually getting someone who knows the first thing about it to deal with it. So, screw you, Kinetics. I don't like you, even though I've never met you. But yeah, that sounds pretty rough. Go on.
Jump Zero's a long way from home. What was it like?
The grand gateway to humanity looks a lot better in the vids.
Yeah, well, don't it always?
This was supposed to be a casual debrief, not a bull session about stuff that happened years ago.
Yeah, well, you got me interested.
I wanted to get to know you a little better. That's all. Thanks for the talk, Caden.
Well, you're welcome, ma'am. You, make a habit of getting this personal with everyone?
Yeah, and if you hadn't guessed, this is starting the actual romance, if you pick this option, and probably this one as well. Which, if you hadn't guessed it, I am going to be having Melinda Shepard romance Caden in this game, though whether it'll go through the whole series, you'll have to wait and see. But what do you think, Caden? What do you think?
No, I don't. We'll talk again later.
I'll need some time to process that, Commander. But, yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah, make of that what you will. We'll grab that, which I apparently forgot about at the beginning of the game. And yeah, Dr. Chakwas
Yes, Commander?
really has
Is there something you need?
no other lines you haven't heard
I should go.
before.
Goodbye, Commander.
So, we won't really be discussing stuff with her. But yeah, we have a new crew member, so we'd best talk to Liara. Now, some of the conversations with her can get a bit interesting. Just because of how out of the blue they are. But they're also amusing because I really like Liara. Even though I don't do the romance with her much, and I'm not going to do it in this one.
Commander, are you coming to check up on me?
Yeah, I was kind of worried about you.
You look much better. How are you feeling?
Dr. Chakwas assures me I am going to be fine. I was impressed with her knowledge of Asari physiology.
Yeah, she is one of the best.
You're in good hands. Dr. Chakwas knows what she's doing.
I never properly thanked you for saving me from the Geth, Commander. If you hadn't shown up,
I'm just glad we got there in
agree.
time.
So am I. I know you took a chance bringing me aboard this ship. I have seen the way your crew looks at me. They do not trust me. But I am not like Benezia. I will do whatever I can to help you stop Saren. I promise.
Yeah, I know. You don't have to prove anything to me.
Don't worry, Liara. I trust you. I know you won't let me down.
It means a lot to hear you say that, Commander. Thank you.
Okay, now let's investigate a few things. Which also happen to be the only investigation options we will ever get for Liara. Which is interesting, strange, and unfortunate all at the same time. Because it just feels like you could have gotten the option to investigate a whole lot more. I mean, you can't even ask her about her past, for one thing, which would have been cool to discuss. Oh well. Sorry culture, I guess.
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
We were the first species to discover the Citadel. We were instrumental in forming the Council, and we always strive to be the voice of peaceful cooperation in galactic disputes. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic community. Each species contributes something to the greater whole. Although we seek to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The galaxy is filled with rumors and misinformation about my people.
Rumors, huh? What kind of rumors?
Like what?
Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating rituals. My species is monogendered. Male and female have no real meaning for us. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species and any gender.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that because that would be pretty much the rudest thing you could possibly say, and considering some of the things that come up about the Asari later on, possibly even a little bit racist. But yeah, how is that possible?
I don't understand. Your species can mate with anyone?
Mating is not quite the proper term, not as you understand it. Physical contact may or may not be involved, but it is not an essential element of the union. The true connection is mental. Our physiology allows us to meld with other beings. We can touch the very depths of their minds. We explore the genetic memory of their species. We share the most basic elements of their individual and racial identities. We then pass these traits on to our daughters. It is how we learn to grow as a species and how we develop a greater understanding of other races.
So the Asari have mind sex. Well, isn't that interesting? What about the other parents, though?
What happens to your partner after the union?
Every relationship is different. Some unions are a single encounter with both parents parting ways afterwards. Others can be more long-term. Sometimes an Asari and her partner will stay together for many decades.
So the Asari have one-night stands too, huh? Can't say that's expected. But what about the age difference? I mean, that's gotta be difficult for long-term relationships for Asari, after all.
You Asari live for 1,000 years. What happens when your partner dies?
Few sapient species live as long as my kind. We have learned to take a philosophical approach to our unions. We do not focus on the inevitable loss of our partners. Instead, we enjoy the time we spend with them. And even after they're gone, A part of them lives on in us. The Union is a connection that transcends both time and space.
Focus on the now instead of the then, huh? Interesting approach, but I'm curious, Liara. Who was your father?
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner. Though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
Yeah, I'm not gonna ask that because that's incredibly stupid. Of course they can do that. The Asari would have been dead a long time ago if they couldn't. Which Liara explains if you pick that. You don't know who your father is?
Benezia never told you her partner's name?
Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called a pureblood, though no Asari would ever be cruel enough to say the word to my face. It is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was
it's kind of
embarrassed by
interesting
their
how
union.
in this
She may
they
have
sort
been
of
too
flip the whole
ashamed to
pure blood
publicly
thing
acknowledge me as her offspring.
because how in a lot of fictional universe stories, pure-blooded is something you want and it's desired and supported, where in this it's actually considered bad, racial impurity, if you'll permit me to use that term. And I just think that's really interesting that they decided to do it like that. And also, oh, I just wanted to mention one little thing. You know about how she said union with their own kind is no longer common? Well, for reproduction purposes. Well, there's another reason for that will come up in Mass Effect 2. So keep that in mind when we get to that point, because it's kind of important.
Maybe she wanted to meet you but couldn't. Something could have happened to her. Maybe she passed away.
You might be right. I hope you are. But I have no way to know for sure. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
And we have the option to ask the same question again, which I am not going to do. Now we will ask about Benezia.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
I don't understand it. She was always outspoken about the need for the Asari to become more involved in shaping galactic events. Maybe she thought allying herself with Saren would somehow be for the greater good in the long run. At least I hope so.
Yeah. Now, would that not be the absolute dickiest thing you could possibly say? Yes,